Alright, on today's video, we've got something new and really unique in from ADE, and this is the fast magnifier. Now, a few years ago, when I very first started the YouTube channel, I worked with a company called ADE. And if you're not familiar with ADE, they were a very budget-friendly red dot company, mostly just pistol dots. Now, I had very good luck with the majority of the dots. We had a couple that didn't fare so well, but I have not heard anything out of ADE for a couple years. And I was really surprised when they got a hold of me the other day. So they sent me an email. They said, hey, we've got this really cool new product we'd like you to test out on the channel. Now, they sent some pictures over and some literature on this fast magnifier, and I really thought it was super cool. And I think it's just going to be better for me to show you over on the other bench. We'll get this thing unboxed, and I'll show you exactly what this does. All right, we're going to get this thing unboxed. All right, here we have the instruction manual. It's pretty much just a black and white manual. I'm going to open this up. I'll hold it there if you want to pause it. It is two-sided. Here is the other side. All right, let's start taking everything out of the box. So we have our scope mount. It's a really nice mount. Does have a recoil lug. Got 4 Torx bolts to hold that down. I do like how they have the top marked for 20 inch-pounds. This, we have an adapter, and I don't believe we're going to be using this with the scope we're using it on. Now in here, we have 2 different rings. This one says Vortex 1:6 by 24, and this one says SIG 1:6 by 24. So let me explain this to you. This is a automatic motorized magnifier. So basically you're not going to have to take your hand off the foregrip to adjust from your 1 power to your 6 power. This actually has a remote switch and a motor, and we're going to get into that. That does that for you. Now, if this sounds kind of familiar, that's probably because about a year ago a guy came out with a magnification system, but it was like cable driven, and it mounted on your AR rail, and you kind of had to use your hand to slide it back and forth. Now this is going to do away with having to move your hand. You're going to be able to leave your hand right on your foregrip wherever you want it, and you're going to be able to push a button, and I'll show you that, to adjust your magnification. Now the downside to this right now is it only works with the Vortex Strike Eagle 1:6 by 24, which I have, and then the SIG Foxtrot, I do believe they call it. If I'm wrong on that, I'll put that down at the bottom of the screen. Now our next piece is our control. This has your cable, obviously, that's going to go to the motor, and you have your forward and back buttons right here, which is going to take your magnification back and forth from 1 to 6. Now, if we get into the back here, this is where the battery's at. And what I like about this just runs on an 18650 battery. I have a bunch of these batteries, and they are rechargeable, which is cool. Now, I actually have a charger for these 18650 batteries. You can take them out and put them on a charger. With this one, you can leave it in and charge it right here. It does have a, this is why it's probably waterproof, because this is very hard to pull back. But there is your USB-C charging port, so you do not have to remove the battery. But the cool thing about an 18650 battery, you can get a couple extras and keep a couple in your range bag. Now I want to dive a little deeper into the control on this. This has a green laser. And right now this is the only option they have out. But they do have another option coming out where you can have a flashlight instead of a laser. And what would probably be better for me being left-handed, and we're going to get into that here later on when we get this mounted on what I'm going to be putting it on, they actually make just the control to adjust your magnification, which would be better for me being a left-hander, because I would just mount this right on the top rail of my AR or whatever I decide to put it on. But as of right now, this is the only version available with the laser, but there will be a version with a light, and there will be a version without the light or laser and just the control. And while we're talking about things coming in the future with this, they're also going to be coming out with a lot of different rings for a lot of different LPVOs and different optics. Now we're going to get into this. This is another mount, and this mount is what is going to hold this right here, and this is your motor. So if you see here, you've got some splines down in here on a gear, which obviously is going to interact with this. And then the end of your cable is going to tie onto this. So this is going to be your motor when we get this all hooked up. And this mount is going to mount to the LPVO, and this is going to mount to the motor. And that is how that works. Now, let's see. I think all we got left is whatever is in here. So let's see what we got here. We have our charging cable, USB to USB Type-C. Then we have this mount. This is going to go on your M-lock. Your screws are in here for your M-lock. It does come with a wrench. And then this will mount to that. Now, if you have a quad rail or a handguard that already has M-lock on it, you can just go ahead and direct mount this to that M-lock. But they also have this with it. So that's pretty cool. That is everything in the box. All right, here is our Strike Eagle 1-6. This is what we're going to be using the fast magnifier with. Now, you do have to remove the mount and use the mount that came with the kit, because you will not be able to get the ring over your throw lever. Now, I had this optic on my PSA Jackal. I took it off of there, and we're going to mount this to my 22 mag upper from Bear Creek Arsenal, and that's what we're going to use to test out the fast magnifier. So what we're going to do when we go to the range in the next video is kind of test this fast magnifier from more of a tactical standpoint. We're going to shoot from the wall where we're zoomed in using the 6 power on the further away targets, and then we'll move up to the closer targets, come back to that 1 power, and test that out. Now, what I would like to do in the third video is we'll put it on my Ruger American 450 Bushmaster, and we'll see if it would make a good option for putting it on a hunting rifle. So we'll test it out from a tactical standpoint, and then we'll test it out from a hunting standpoint. Now, if you are watching this on YouTube, I cannot show you the installation of this fast magnifier. First, I have to put the LPVO on an upper and then install the magnifier, and that's not going to fly with the YouTube rules. Now, what I am going to do is have a version of this video over on Rumble, and it will be completely unedited, and you can go over there and watch how to install this fast magnifier on our Strike Eagle. Now, obviously, it's going to be a long video because I don't know how to install one of these. I've never messed with anything like this, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me. But if you are interested in this product, you can go over to Rumble and watch the full installation. Now, if you're going to stay here and watch it on YouTube, I will be right back. I'll have it all mounted up on the upper. I'll show you how it works, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, we are back on the YouTube side, and we've got this all installed and set up. And for anybody watching from YouTube, this is not a working firearm. This is just an upper. I do have the lower apart, locked up in the safe, so this cannot fire any live rounds. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this. So you might be thinking, why does he have the control over there? That's because I'm a left-handed shooter. And we talked about this in the Rumble video. So for all of you who are right-handed, you will probably mount this right on top because you're going to be using your left hand out here on the end of your handguard to run the controls. That is the way probably 99% of you are going to run this. your control unit with the laser is going to sit on the top. Me being left-handed, the reason I put it on like this is because when I grip the firearm, I can run the controls. I've got my 2 buttons right here. Now, I'm not going to be using the laser, but in order to run the laser, I would have to break my grip, turn the laser on, and shut it back off. But I'm not using that. So, let's talk about the controls. So, you hit the button, and it turns your magnification. That's basically all it does. Now I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to show you what the motor looks like. That's how the motor goes on in the mount and your gear ring. But it was actually really easy to install. Now it does come with one cable management piece of M-lock. I've got mine over here. For you right-handed people that are going to mount this, you'll probably put this somewhere here on the top of the rail. So what are the pros of this? Well, I don't know yet, other than it's really cool and it's definitely different. And I think it's kind of cutting edge a little bit. We haven't seen really anything like this. And it is pretty cool to get your grip and be able to just run that magnification. Now, I do have a couple cons that I don't like about this. And at the beginning of the video, we talked about using this in a hunting application. Well, I don't know if you can pick it up, but it's kind of loud. And animals, especially deer, coyotes, whatever, they have insane hearing. And I don't know if this is just too loud. Now, it is very fast. It goes from 1 to 6 pretty quick, but it is a little noisy, as you can hear. The other thing, I wish they would have made the cable longer, because I'm a big guy with a very long arm reach, and I like to have my grip clear out here on the end of my handguards. So I wish this cable was a few inches longer, because I would have had this clear out at the end like this, and I would run the controls with my pinky finger and this finger. For your average size guys and girls, this will probably be just fine. So that is really all I got for this video. If you watched the Rumble version, I know it was very long, but at least you have a complete tutorial on how to install this. In the next video, we'll get it out to the range and actually use it under live fire, but it's cool. I don't know how practical it is. I don't know how much somebody would use it, but it's just neat. It's different. I like when things come along that are different. I like the concept of this, and it's something that we really haven't seen from anybody else. And maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe nobody wants it, or maybe people are going to see this video and be like, damn, that's cool, I want one. And we'll just have to see how it goes. This upper definitely has some more weight on it. The control box is fairly heavy, and the motor itself is pretty heavy, so it definitely added some weight to the upper, but it's pretty cool. Now, one thing that I did not talk about yet, and I didn't talk about it in the Rumble video either, if the motor were to quit or the battery goes dead, you still can turn this. So it's definitely got some tension on it, and it's a lot tighter, but you can turn it. So if this were to die, you still can adjust the magnification by hand. Stay tuned. We'll get this out to the range and test it out in the next video. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.